got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're with my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
All right, y'all, we're here. We're live. You're watching Buster Unmasked. And look, before I forget, because I definitely will forget, like this video, share this video, go to Buster H.R. Johnson. You can see it above my head on YouTube, and subscribe. All right, guys, got a cool show today. It's a show I've been wanting to do a pretty good while. Took me a while to get it together. We got a referees roundtable today. I'm anxious to get these guys on here, get them out here, let them compare notes about being a referee, pet peeves, things you like, things you don't like, how they got in the business. So look, guys, without any further ado, I'm going to bring to you the most professional referee in the business, none other than Brandon Blade. Brandon, what's going on, man?
Oh, not much, Buster. How you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. It's good to have you here.
I appreciate it.
Look, we're going to get these other guys on here. Next, I'm bringing up, this guy is a referee turned wrestler, and he takes this serious. Young guy, one of the in shape, man. When I say he takes this shit serious, you can tell by his physique. He's serious about this. Started out as a referee, now turned wrestler, starting to make waves around our area. None other than Mr. Chuck Norbit. Chuck.
Yo.
What's going on, man?
What's going on? How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good. It's good to have you here, dude.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, guys. We got one more guy to get out here, man. This guy's kind of like a jack of all trades in the wrestling business. He's done some wrestling. Obviously a referee. He's done some announcing, done some commentating, done some ring announcing, and now he's aspiring to be a professional wrestling manager. None other than 2 Count, Alan Lentz. Alan.
Hey guys, how's it going?
What's up, man?
Man, it's good to be here, Buster. Thanks for the invite.
Man, I appreciate all you guys for getting here, man. Look, this is a show I've kind of wanted to do for a long time. Like I said, people kind of take referees for granted, I think. Fans do. They don't realize how hard of a job being a referee is in the pro wrestling business. And we're going to get into all that. But first, we got Mark McGee. He's here with us. Mark says, good evening, y'all. Mark, what's up, man? Glad you're watching, man. You got any questions for these guys? Start sending them in, dude. We will get to them. All right, guys, here's the thing. We know what we're here to do. You guys, it's a referees roundtable. So what we're going to start out with, I'm going to start out up top with Brandon, and we're going to get a little bit of a little quick history of you guys, how you got in the business, when you got in, how long you've been doing this. So, Brandon, it's you first, man. You're first up to swing.
Yeah.
Talk to us and tell us how you got into the pro wrestling business and how you became a referee.
Well, first of all, I got a cousin that's been wrestling probably over, I think, 22 years. I've been around it since I was 8 years old. So I've been around it. Been repping about 2.5 years. I I used to do security, and I decided I want to be a referee. So I was at a show one night, talked to the owner and promoter about it. And the next week, I was in the ring. Basically, I got hands-on training as I went. Well, I've been around it all my life, but mainly because my cousin, honestly.
I hear you. Hey, people, there's a lot of people that kind of gets thrown into business. So you started out as a security guard. Of course, you're a lifelong wrestling fan. You grew up in Arkansas, right around Mid-Southern Championship Wrestling, the MCW and Osceola. So you've been going to wrestling since you was a kid, right?
Yeah, since I was 8 years old, my brother-in-law at the time took me and my niece to a show there in Osceola when they was in the old Delta Club. I won't believe that's what it is. It used to be.
Right.
And I got hooked on it ever since. At one point in time, I went 10 years straight without missing the show.
Damn.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of wrestlers can't say that, man. A lot of them.
I didn't care what was going on. Friday night, I was there for at least 10 years straight. And I know a lot of guys, White Lightning, Big Daddy LaFont, Moondog Spot. You, of course, you was there.
Right.
Sexy Sam Dollar, I've been around all my life, you know what I'm saying? And so I was a security guard, and I decided I want to be a referee. So, yeah, I was thrown in there, but, I was thankful, and I'll give a shout out, if it wasn't for Galen Ray, I wouldn't be a referee today. And just being honest, he gave me my start, and I'm thankful for that. And I've been doing it for 2.5 years. So, yeah, I didn't have no training referee. I got thrown in there, but I've been learning as I go. And any show I work, if somebody tell me I'm doing something wrong or anybody they can give me, I'm all ears. I'm not going to say no and not listen because I can learn. I learn every show. You learn something every show. I just did my first TV taping last month, I was excited. Alex was there, He gave me a lot of info and all that stuff, and I appreciate that and looking forward to doing more.
All right, man. Chuck, we're coming to you next, but first we got Elvis Ivy with us. He said, "What's up, guys? What's up, Elvis? Glad you're tuning in, man. I hope you enjoy the show." Chuck, man, you're actually one of the very first graduates from Jason Genesis Dojo, right?
Yes, sir, I am. One of the three that graduated. Yes.
So talk to us about how you got into the wrestling business and when. And obviously we know Jason Genesis kind of facilitated you being in the wrestling business, but tell us when and how, man.
So I've been into wrestling for a while. I can't really pinpoint and tell you how or when. My mom, I think it was one Christmas or one of my birthdays, she got me the Dwayne Johnson DVD box set, about his life and his top 10 best matches, and I just watched that and I just fell in love with it, and that was ever since then it was all I wanted to do was try to wrestle. So yeah, so whenever I met Jason, he was doing the wrestling thing, and I was trying to get in there, and he was like, "Well, I can't really train you. I haven't really been doing it for too long." And so I asked him if I could just be a referee, and he was like, "That'd probably be best. Then you'll be able to see what you need to see and hear what you need to hear." And from there, life got a little complicated with work, and I had to step back. After I came back, I decided right then and there I wasn't going to let anything get in the way of me doing wrestling or the refereeing. And whenever Jason opened up his school, I made sure that I was, one of the first ones in there. Whenever he first was putting up flyers, I was like, "Can I please join?" And him and the Goddess, they both let me in with open arms. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't even be refereeing. So I'm very thankful for them coaching me and pushing me along. And yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Chuck. Was your goal always to be a wrestler, or did you just want to be part of the business, kind of no matter what where you ended up, or was the goal to be a wrestler?
So so the goal, yes, is and will always be, a wrestler. But I feel like me starting off as a referee was very educational. Because I'm a very hands-on learner. So the more I see it, the more I tend to comprehend and whatnot. So whenever I was doing my training for wrestling, I was also refereeing on the backside of that. So I was able to do my studying
right
while I was refereeing. And like I said, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So yeah, with me doing the whole referee thing, because I like the whole concept of being the referee that turned into the wrestler, because I was a big fan of one match. It was Ryback versus Punk at Hell in a Cell, and that was like the first time I ever seen a referee interfere with a match, and that just shocked me. It blew me away. And like me doing that, I kind of hope that a kid in the audience was like, got that same reaction, you know what I mean? Like that same feeling, like, oh wow, I've never seen a referee interfere with a match. This is amazing. Maybe I can be a referee that turns into a wrestler, or maybe I can just be a wrestler, So I like that. The way I got to start wrestling and everything, loved it.
Okay, well, look, guys, Alan, we headed to you. Before we get there, we got Eric J with us. Eric's my guy. He says, "What's up? What's going on,
Eric?
guys? Enjoying the show, Big Buster." Eric, man, I appreciate you tuning in. You too, just like Mark, just like Elvis. If you guys have any questions for these referees, wrestlers, and we're getting to Alan, who is kind of a jack of all trades in the business, so you can kind of ask him wrestling questions, referee questions, announcer questions. Alan, like I said, jack of all trades, man. You've kind of been dabbled in a little bit of every aspect of the wrestling business. So talk to us and tell us how you got in this business, man.
Man, my apologies, Buster. Go ahead.
No. Just tell us how you got in and who kind of facilitated you getting in the wrestling business.
Yeah, so the first wrestling show that I want to say I went to was ran by Kenny Valiant in Batesville, Mississippi, at the Eureka Theater. I want to say like around 2007, 2008, somewhere like that. And went to a few shows that he was running. I would go to a few other shows around the area from where I'm from. And then Redeemed Wrestling started in Senatobia, Mississippi, around 2018. And I went to a few shows, and they were having a show in Independence, Mississippi one night, and I sent Ron Horn a message, and I was like, "Hey man, I've been coming to the shows. I've been watching wrestling since I was young. I'd like to come and see how the ring is set up. Real simple, question." And he said, "Well, the only way to do that is to come out and help." And so he told me what time to be there, and I showed up, and that was the beginning of a journey that I really didn't see coming, to be honest. And so that would have been in September, October of 2018, and then come April of 2019, I was reffing my first show with Pro Wrestling Association, and Cousin Petey and Giant Hillbilly were running that. And so first, I've been reffing since April of 2019, and since then it's just gradually grown. My my activity in wrestling, in the business, and had some things come up where I had to move in to an announcing role. I broke my arm the day before, well, the day of, right before a show that I was supposed to be reffing at, and so went and got that looked at. Missed that show, and then the following night we were having a redeem show, and so they put me on commentary. And so that was the first night that I did commentary, was like 2 years ago. But I've been, I've been real blessed. Been blessed to have a lot of good people around me, old school guys that believe in the old school ways, and I like to say that I'm a sponge for this business and for every aspect of this business, and so I'm constantly watching other referees, constantly listening to the announcers, watching production and how that goes, and just all the different aspects, right? Watching fan reactions, and so it's just been it's been really cool, man. And one of the cool experiences, the coolest probably that I'll ever have, was being able to ref the Rock and Roll Express a few years ago, and man, just in a little podunk town, Charleston, Mississippi. They came down and worked and got to ref that match. And whether he was blowing smoke or not, Ricky Morton told me that I was phenomenal, and can't take that away from me, whether he meant it or not. Because when Ricky Morton tells you something like that, you're gonna hold on to that. So.
Hey, break your phone out and say, "Hold on, man, I need to get that. I need to get a voice recording of that, man."
That's right. Can we run that back and do that again, just so I got proof?
Hey, let me get this camera on, man. Now can you say that again?
Yeah. I gotta make sure that these other guys hear it.
Gotta save this for posterity, man.
That's it. But man, got to work with CCW up in Missouri, up in Cape Girardeau. Worked with Memphis Wrestling whenever it first started up. Now with Bluff City, I've been with APW in Marion, Arkansas, for about 4 years now. And just, man, it's been a great ride. And as you said in the introduction, a lot of people look at referees and think that it's an easy thing to do. But it's definitely not, man. It takes a lot of willpower and a lot of just mentally. It's a lot mentally to deal with, and just a lot of people don't realize that until they say, I can do that, and they get thrown in, and they realize how lost they are in there because they don't have a clue what's going on. They don't know where to be, what to look at. Even to the point of cadence on your counts. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They don't think about that, and it's so like it's minuscule things, a lot of minuscule things that referees deal with that people have no idea about. And it's just I pride myself in what I do, and just been super blessed to be around good people and to have good people with me. And you don't really hear that in the wrestling business a lot these days. But I've really been blessed and been very grateful for the awesome people that I've had around me. Ricky Kennedy of APW, man.
Right, that's one of the best promoters around.
Literally, for real, like straight shoot, like no questions asked. APWs ran very smoothly and very tight, and Ricky takes a lot of pride in that company. And Bluff City, being with Bluff City now, being with Johnny Dotson, a guy that I used to grow up watching on Channel 30 every Saturday morning. It's just crazy. The road that I've been able to take is not a road that I saw, that I envisioned whenever I was a young kid growing up watching WCW Thursday Night Thunder, in my grandparents' living room, shelling peas, going back and forth between that and watching Braves baseball. And now, man, just thinking of the journey, man, being here with you, being able to do awesome things like this and educate people on on the importance of refereeing and just the fact that refereeing that is the third man in a match.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got a crappy referee, it can make a good match bad. But if you've got a good referee, it can make a good referee can make a bad match great.
It can
And
help the talent too, man. A good referee, especially if you got young, inexperienced talent, a
mhm.
good referee can help a match out tremendously, man. I mean, people don't realize a real good referee. Sometimes even veterans, you having long matches, you kind of run out of things to do, and a good referee will throw some spots out there for you here and there sometimes, and it saves you guys even having to think about it. You know, the wrestlers.
Yeah.
So look, Alan kind of mentioned the places he's worked, and that was kind of where I was headed next. Brandon, I know you kind of started with MCW as a security guard, then you kind of moved on to EIW, and so talk to us about the other places you've worked since you've actually got in the ring as a referee.
Well, like I said, security guard at MCW. My first start was EIW. I did EIW, TIWF, of course, MCW as well. I do my cousin does a show once a month, WWP Wrestling with Pride. I do that once a month. I do TNR Wrestling. Just most recently, I got licensed in Missouri. I did a couple of shows so far with American Hostile Championship Wrestling. That's so far. And then, of course, I made my debut with Bluff City Wrestling, which I was grateful and thankful for the opportunity from Johnny Dawson.
So let's kind of stop right there for a second. Talk to me about your first shot at refereeing for Bluff City. How was it for you?
Overall, I was a little nervous because, like I said, I've been doing referee over 2.5 years, but that was the first TV taping that I've done, so it was a little different, but in the same way, it was exciting and fun. I enjoyed it. Can't wait to go back and do it again. But overall, it was a great experience for the first time.
Right.
I mean, Alex was there, so I mean, I asked him some questions. I can't remember exactly what I asked him. He was more than willing to give me info and advice. You know what I mean, on stuff. So.
Right. Look, guys, Mark McGee's back with us. He said, you zebras are an important part of the matches. Without y'all, there is no dance. And I mean, to a certain extent, he's right, man. Like Alan said, referee's the third man in the ring. And we're going to talk about that too, because there's some theories out there about what makes a good referee and what makes a not good referee. But before that, Chuck, we're coming to you, man. Now, this is for you as a referee and a wrestler.
Okay.
Talk to us about the different places you've worked at now.
Okay, so being a referee, I honestly, altogether, I haven't worked too many places. I've just been there a bunch. So so my first ever place refereeing was MIW. That's in Middleton, Tennessee. My second ever place, I want to say, is EPW. Now, whenever I was first refereeing, it was just MIW. Then I left, and then I came back, and then I came back, and I was doing EPW. Then I went back to MIW. Then I tried to go down to Memphis Wrestling, and I think those are really the only three places I've been. No, I refereed for TCW, and TCW is the reason I'm Norbit. So, yeah. So TCW, I've done a couple, or no, I refereed one show for PKAW. I think they're in Brownsville now. I think
Brownsville, yeah. Once a month they're in Brownsville. I think last Friday they just had a show last Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
They're really doing. There's been a company a couple years ago. There was a company called SPW tried to run Brownsville, and they just never could get any traction. But PKAW, Leon, Jet Hero for the wrestling fans, he's really done a good job, man. He's went in there. He's dressed up the building. They made it a little bigger.
Nice.
Kind of really personalized it. And so far, I think there are 2 or 3 shows in, and so far they're drawing an audience and they're holding that audience. So that's a plus, because I had people tell me, promoters say Brownsville won't draw. Said it'll draw ever so often. Come there about once every 6 months, maybe 3 times a year at the most, and you can draw. But they swore up and down it wouldn't draw on a regular basis, either week to week or month to month. So far, PKAW seems to have a working formula there.
Right.
So go ahead. Who?
Hey, Buster, I forgot to mention, I did PPW, which is Premier Pro Wrestling. Anthony and Brian Rogers.
Yeah, I did. I did
to mention them.
PPW as well.
That's a great company to work for. I mean, they treat you like family.
Oh, your ass is fired now, man. So soon as we get, you probably getting messages right now. Say, how the fuck you gonna hold us for last, man?
But
I worked.
I've been doing them ever since they first started their show. Been over a year ago. I've been there every show. I met them from EIW and TIWL. So they treat me like family ever since I met them. But great show, great atmosphere. They always put on a great show, have a great crowd.
So I want to go back to Chuck just a second, because you said, who did you say you got? TCW, Tennessee Championship Wrestling. That's where the name Norbit come from. And I was wondering that, man. I meant to ask you before we went live, because in my head I'm thinking, man, surely that ain't his real name. And if it is, you couldn't. I mean, how do you not go with Norbit if that's your real name? I'll be honest with you. So talk to us about how that came about, how you became Norbit, man.
Well, before I get on that subject, I don't want to get fired from any other places. I've also worked at TIWF.
Right.
So let me get that out of the way. So the way I got the name Norbit was like one of my first days back being a referee, and we were all just chilling in the back, and I went out to referee a match, and I come back, and Jason and Aaron and all of them, they're just like, dude, they were chanting your name out there. Did you hear them? And I was like, no, they weren't chanting my name. Y'all are hearing things. And they're like, no, we're being like serious. They were chanting your name. And I'm like, really? Like, it started to get to me. I was like, there's no way. So they're like, all right, when you go back out there, listen, they're chanting for you. And I go out there, and sure enough, Norbit. And I'm just like, there's no way this is my name now. Because at first, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
it's your name. It's stuck, man. That's how wrestling happens, man.
Right.
So my name at first was just Chuck. It was just Chuck. There was no last name. And at this point, I'm trying to figure out who I wanted to be as a wrestler. And this was like an ongoing thing. Like I was going to Jason with ideas like every day. And I'm like, what do you think about this? And he's like, I don't know about that. I don't like that. And I'm just like, okay, let me try something else. So I kept trying. And then at the show, they're just like, Norbit. And I'm just like, I don't know about this. And I was up there with Alan one day in the ring. And he's like, I think it's kind of stuck. I'm like, yeah, just announce me as Norbit.
Yeah, man, that's how it happens, dude. That's kind of how it is. So look, guys, and this is for you, Brandon. Eric J says also PPW. So I'm sure you're gonna get a little stern talking to sometime now and next Friday night, dude. And before we go on, Mark McGee's back. He said Allen's the first and only ref I've took a pick with. No other ref can take that from 2 count. Allen, Mad Dog Mark McGee, man. He done made you famous, dude.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. That's the only person from New York I've taken a picture with. So kudos to me, I guess, or kudos to him. Maybe he should save that picture and get it framed, or maybe one day it'll make him some money. Who knows?
So
let's open this thing up now. Now we got all the pleasantries out of the way. We know who you guys are, kind of how you got into the business, what you're about. Let's talk ref stuff. Alan, I'm going to start with you. In your opinion, what do you think makes a good referee?
I think making a good referee, I think, is knowing your talent that you're working with, knowing their move set. And the reason I say that is because placement and where the referee is placed inside the ring is a big deal. Um, because if I'm in the wrong spot and the guys are doing a move and I'm in the way, well then somebody can get hurt, something can go wrong, and so you need to know placement and where to position yourself inside the ring.
And
Being able to.
you don't want to piss Ricky Morton off in the middle of a match either. Go on and
Oh
say
no,
it.
no, man! If I could explain to you how sweaty my palms were going into that, oh boy, it was rough. I was freaking, man. Like the nerves were high that day. I was so nervous, but I was excited for the opportunity because I was like, okay, if I do well enough, and I know Ricky Morton is involved with NWA in some capacity. Him and his son, Kerry, are they the NWA tag champs right now, or some kind of
I think they do
champions? I
hold.
think.
I think they do hold some tag titles. In one, some of the, Joe Kazanen's got a version of the NWA. It's all the same thing, but he's kind of got his own company, NWA, and they're hooked together with Billy Corgan. It's all the same, but he's got his own company, and I do
That's right.
think Ricky and I don't want to speak out of turn because I don't know for sure, but I do think they do hold some tag titles right now.
Okay, I think 'cause the reason I brought that up was because I was scrolling last night and a picture popped up of Kerry and Ricky with the tag belts, and so I couldn't remember if it was NWA or what company it was, um, but going back to the discussion, like being able to communicate with the guys or girls in the matches, helping throughout the match, and being vocal, being active. If you just stand in a corner like you're like you're a mannequin, you're not bringing anything to the match.
Right.
Now, granted, a referee is the referee's job isn't to be seen. The referee's job isn't to be noticed until he's supposed to be noticed
And
and
see,
recognized.
that's the thing. Old school guys will tell you right off the bat, the greatest referees, you don't even realize they're in there once the match gets going. And unless the referee has a spot, a specific spot that's set up for him to do, the very best referees are the ones that kind of almost become invisible during a match. You don't even hardly, the fans get to watching the wrestlers because a lot of times and it's inexperienced referees tend to want to sometimes they want to get noticed, I guess is the best way. They want something from the fans too. And at the end of the day, you got to understand, and I believe this too, from my experiences, the best referees are the ones you don't notice. But here's the thing: just because these fans don't notice you, don't mean that referee ain't doing shit in that ring that nobody sees other than him and the boys.
Yep.
Because, like I said, good referees will call spots for you sometimes if you get a little place where neither one of you can really think of nothing. There's a lot of things referees can do in the ring, and never be noticed. Wrestling in general to me is a thankless job most of the time, and refereeing out of you got a singles match going on, you got that third guy and the referee. Well, obviously, the referee is the guy who never gets no credit for nothing other than in the back. You don't get no credit from the public, not no fanfare. You get in the back. If you did a great job, you guys will tell you, man, awesome job. I love referees. Used to have a guy named Chris Adams, not Super Kick Chris Adams, but we called him Abs of Steel. Used to referee for Burt Prentice back in Ozark Mountain. Wrestled his ass off too, but he was one of the very best referees because he was where he was supposed to be when he was supposed to be, and he was also smart to the business. He could call spots for you if needed. So you get a referee who can call spots, especially with young guys and inexperienced guys. A lot of times you got an experienced referee, and I got 2 inexperienced guys, which I really hate putting 2 inexperienced guys in the ring together. I always like to have a guy with some experience with a guy with no experience or very little, because you always tend to have better matches that way. Nobody gets flustered. The veteran keeps it on point and keeps it going. But refereeing sometimes is a thankless job. So Brandon, what's your thoughts about what makes a good referee?
Well, I mean, like I said, the third person in the match, I mean, you got to be, like Alex said, be vocal. You know, you are the authority figure in the match, so you got to kind of have authority in there. You know, tell the guys when to get out of the corner, this and that, stay out of the hair and all that stuff. But you got to be, I think it's more vocal than anything.
Right. Look, before we get to Chuck on this question, Alicia Wayne's with us. She says, hi, Brandon. You got fans,
Hello.
Brandon.
Man. I guess I do.
Famous,
Look,
man.
Chuck.
I don't know her, but hello.
Oh, she anytime there's anything about MCW on, she tunes in. Chuck, same question to you, man. Now you kind of, you and Alan both, y'all kind of tasted both sides of being a referee and a wrestler. Now that you're moved into the wrestling aspect, what do you think makes a good referee?
So I will say, like, you're like, for the inexperienced referees, what match is your favorite match?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I lost track.
What do you think makes a good referee?
Okay, so for the inexperienced people, the good thing that makes a great referee would be, like, for me, it's how I carry myself, how I look in the ring, like how I, like, posture wise, and like I think it was Alan that said being vocal. I mean, everybody was pretty much saying being vocal. Like, after every match that I refereed, I was pretty much hoarse, because in my thought process, I'm thinking, all right, I got the fans, but I want the people in the back to hear me.
Right.
I want the people across the street to hear me. They might be like, man, what's going on over there? Let me go figure out what's going on over here. Oh man, there's a wrestling match. Oh dude, yeah. You know, like, so being very loud, being very assertive, like, people might actually, it's like, hey, stay out of the hair. I wasn't in his hair. And, he'll come up to you and be all up in your face. And it's like, he goes to push you. You better either push him back or tell him you'll throw the match out. Like, you can't, you're the authority of the match. You're basically the police officer that can deal with these two guys in the match. So nobody else around the ring is going to take care of those two guys except for you. So
right.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Chuck. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was pretty much saying that's why you're the authority of the match, is because if stuff does break loose, the fans are just going to run. You are the authority. If somebody comes from the back and jumps on somebody else out there, you got to get them off. You can't expect, one of the people in the crowd to just jump up and be, a superhero one day.
Right.
So
no, I agree with that 100%, dude. A referee's authority is all he has out there.
Yeah,
that's what
really
you're out there for. You need to be loud. Your counts need to be loud. When you're counting a guy, if a guy's got a dude back in the corner and you're counting the break, be loud with that. One.
Oh.
And like Alan mentioned earlier, cadence. It ain't just cadence with your 3 count. It's cadence with any count you do in there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Try to keep the same cadence unless you're told otherwise. Try to keep the same cadence. Look, Mark McGee's back with us, and this is for all you guys. He says, which match is your favorite match you've refed? Alan, we're gonna start with you on that one.
Oh,
Obviously, it's the Rock and Roll Express match.
Yeah, that's up there, man. Another one of my favorites was working with Cowboy James Storm against Joey O'Reilly at CCW in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, about 2.5, 3 years ago, I think now. Uh, just being able to work with James and watching him from like the TNA days, whenever I was a lot younger, and being able to work with him. So that Rock and Roll Express, top tier number one forever. James Storm, Joey O'Reilly, right below it. Uh, but I mean, there's been a lot. I've had a lot of favorite matches. Those two come to mind. Um, uh, I just worked a match a few months ago now between Buck Skinner and Prince Ahmed in where were we at? Palestine. I think we were in Palestine, Arkansas. No,
APW.
yeah, it was APW. We weren't in Palestine. We were somewhere out there, one of those towns. Forest City. We were in Forest City. Uh, just worked a match with them a few months ago, man, and it was just chaotic, completely chaotic. Everything broke down, but at the end of the day, everybody was safe. Everybody went home well and happy, and everything was accomplished that they wanted to get accomplished, and the fans were ecstatic. And so I mean, shoot, I'd have to make a top 10 list like I'm Dave LaGreca on Busted Open.
There you go. So Brandon, it's to you, man. Favorite match you've got to referee?
Well, I got more than one. My favorite, I have to say, was the EIW Dangerous Doug Gilbert and Wildfire Tommy Rich came in and took on, I want to say, Dale Tucker and Chase McCoy. And I found out that night that I had the match, which to me, that was an honor because I've seen them on TV, you know what I mean? They're the old school wrestling, so got to share the locker room with them. I actually got a picture of me holding their hand up as the winners of the match. To me, that was my favorite match. The second one was at PPW, was Hornswoggle came in, and I got to do that match, and he was a pretty cool, down-to-earth guy. So
Let me guess.
Two favorites.
You got a picture raising his hand too, huh?
I don't know.
See there, Alan. Brandon, he got that picture, man. You got to have somebody with that camera ready.
He got it. Got to have somebody on standby.
Right.
Well, I got Miss Kelly Crawford. She take pictures at most of the shows I do, and my mom. Quick shout out to my mom. She goes to my shows. She can work all day long, and if I got a show, she's jumping in the car. She wants to go. Even she's tired or what, she goes. So that's my biggest supporter.
Right
here.
It's awesome.
So Chuck, it's to you, man. Favorite match you've refed?
Oh man. I would honestly say one of my favorite matches, it's obviously going to be a Jason Genesis match. There's so many of those. Probably Jason Genesis versus Ty from TIWF. And the reason this one's my favorite is because I didn't pull my count. Because the match was going the way it was supposed to go. I have no idea what happened. But Ty came off of springboard with like a clothesline or something, folded Jason up and went down for the count. And I went down there and counted. And I'm thinking, he's going to kick out. No, he doesn't. I got the 3. And we don't know if that was on my bad or if it was on him for, not kicking out. But
I can tell you this, dude. From the day I broke into business, anytime I've ever dealt with referees or anytime I've ever seen these old veterans deal with referees, the first thing they tell me is it's your job to count the 3 count. If it's his job to kick out, that's on him. If he don't kick out, then he just lost. He cost himself a match. So if you kept the right cadence, and you didn't change nothing, and he didn't get his shoulders up and he was supposed to, you did your job.
No.
Right. But yeah, that's one that I look at as because I really don't have like favorite matches. I've pretty much looked at all my matches as learning experiences, and because like I was studying while I was refereeing, so I wasn't really looking at it from the I'm a referee point of view. I was looking at it like one day I'm going to be here, so I need to pay attention.
And let's talk about that, because let's see what Mark's got to say. Mark said, I've been seeing refs putting out trading cards and signed prints, letting themselves get known. Yeah, man, it's wrestling's changed a lot in the past 20, 25 years, really, because used to referees didn't, unless you Earl Hebner or Nick Patrick or one of those guys, there really wasn't no notoriety with a referee. Like I said, Mike Chioda. Referees, especially in the older era, referees, the best ones should be invisible unless they have a spot. But you mentioned you were studying it, and that's one thing I find any aspiring pro wrestler, and not all can do it, because the one thing I don't like is having a referee that's bigger than my wrestlers. So if you got a trainee coming in and he's 6'2", 300 pounds, well, obviously he don't get afforded that same opportunity to be a referee, because you get him out there and all the fans are going to be thinking, well, shit, he kicked the crap out of both of the wrestlers in the ring. Right. But if you're the right size and stuff, I believe 100% that every single guy who trains to be a pro wrestler should have to referee some, because here's the thing. It allows you the opportunity to get in the ring. It allows you the opportunity to get comfortable being in the ring in front of these people. It allows you to get comfortable working with these guys. Now, you're not in there wrestling with them, but you're still working with them. It lets them get comfortable with you. And I think I think it helps so much for any aspiring wrestler. If they get to referee, I think it helps them once they make that switch, Chuck. And you just did this, man. You just made this switch. So talk to us about how much you think starting out as a referee helped you when you transitioned into being a wrestler.
Oh, dude, it helps so much. Like being. So, like, let's say bell rings and you're in the ring, and you know a little bit about what you're doing, and like literally, you can have the somewhat knowledge of being a referee. Like you could just be one of those fans that watches refereeing and it's like, oh, okay, I know to do this. I know to say stay out of the hair, open your hand up, stuff like that. As long as you know the basics of being a referee, you pretty much got it down. It's all learning from being in there at that point.
Right.
And like one of my first ever matches, I remember getting in there. I remember the car ride down to my first match. It was me, Jason, and Aaron. And Jason's driving and he's like looking in the rear view. He's like, "You remember what you're gonna do tonight?" And I'm like, stay out of the hair, open the hand up, don't choke. And he's like, yeah. What do you do if they get out of the ring? I start counting to 10. And I remembered everything. The minute I hit the ring and the bell rang, I didn't know what was what. Oh man. Like
right.
There's a part where I remember like there was so much going on. It was like a sensory overload, and I kind of had to like fish my way through it. And it was when the match had just started, and I can't even remember. I can't even tell you if this was like Shine or Heat, but he had his hand like this, and he was twisting his finger back, and the crowd's is just like, break it, and the guy's screaming and doing his thing, and I'm like, oh God, is he actually gonna? Oh man, I don't know what to do here. But I just stayed back because I'm not supposed to be seen. So I've had a couple of those where I would get in and out, in and out, in and out. And I've had people, you know, come to me backstage, dude, I didn't even know you were there. Like, it's very nice. But for the people that are aspiring to be wrestlers, I do like 100% recommend, hey, be a referee for a little bit. It's worth it, because like Buster said, like you're in the ring. You get to be in the ring longer than anybody throughout the whole night.
And here's the thing. You're somewhat invisible to the crowd to a point too. You're getting to be in the ring, but you're not focused. You're not center of attention. The spotlight's not on you. And that allows you to learn how to relax. It allows you to learn how to be out in front of the crowd. It's a lot less pressure. Somebody who starts out refereeing, by the time they transition, they're past all that nervousness. Sure, you still get butterflies, but man, you're past all that. Oh shit, I don't even know if I want to go out here type of nervousness. You know.
Right, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's one thing. It's like when you're a referee, you don't have like a cue to go out. You just go out there. So the butterflies are there, but they're not there as strong.
Right.
Now, being a wrestler, oh no, them butterflies are attacking your stomach at that point. you're sitting behind the curtain and you're just like, oh man. And then your music hits and you're just like, all right, game face. You hit the curtain and you're a whole new person. That's how I like to think of it. And
Right.
I know one thing Michael Elgin said at a seminar, because I was at one of his seminars, and he said that the day that you don't feel nervous about it, don't do it anymore.
Don Bass told me and my brother that when we first broke into business, because I had a big issue with, I call it stage fright. I mean, a real big issue with it. And I asked Don one night, I said, man, do you ever not get nervous for this? And he looked us straight in the eye and said, no. He said the exact same thing. He said, if you ever lose those butterflies, it's time for you to get out of the business because you don't care no more.
Right.
True words. Alan, you've dabbled both ways too. Do you feel like refereeing kind of helped you when you did some wrestling?
For sure, 100%. Because I'd never really been trained to wrestle. Never really got properly trained to ref either. But you know, it's on the job training is how I like to say it. And with being in the ring and reffing for so long and doing so many matches, as Chuck said, you get to see the match from a different angle. You get to pick up on different things, and it's very important. And I know it has been for me anyway. In whenever I have had those wrestling matches, like I know where I need to be. I know what I need to do, but I'm also having to think at it from a different mind space, because it's not, you know, you're not a ref anymore. You're working now. Like you're part of you're officially part of the event. You are a centerpiece when you're wrestling. And whether you're a good guy or you're a bad guy, you either want cheered or you want to be booed. If you're sitting and you hear crickets, that's probably not a good thing. And so that was one of my concerns was, man, I just don't want to go out here and crap all over everything.
Right.
And, you know, keep it simple, stupid, is like, you know, is one of my most favorite phrases to say. And, you know, it was, I had people in my ear, you know, telling me, hey, you know what you're doing. You just have to do it. Don't do anything. Don't try anything that you're not sure about, that you're not comfortable with. If there's something that the guy's wanting to do and you don't feel safe about it, tell him, get it changed up, figure out something else to do.
Right.
And, you know, you have a job, so go out there and do it. And it also helps when the promoter that's putting you in that position trusts you and believes that you have the capability to be in that spot.
Right.
And so that's been beneficial. to me in the few matches that I've had, because I know that if they didn't trust me and they didn't think that I could do it, then they wouldn't put me there. And so it's just me having to live up to that trust that they have put into me and my capabilities and what I can do to help build the event to what the promoter is looking for it to be. And so along with what Chuck said, being a referee, I strongly advise for anybody that's aspiring to be a wrestler one day to begin as a referee, because you see things in a different light, and you're able to pick up on things, what works, what doesn't, where to place things in matches, and how to go about it, and also, and one of the things that got me that I hadn't thought about until after I had matches was my utilization of the ref that was in the match.
Right.
I completely, I realized then, I was like, oh, this is how the guys, are seeing things when they're in the match. This is why I'm invisible, because if you don't see the ref, you never think about him, and I was like, man, I should have used the ref for this spot. I should have used the ref here, and didn't even think about them until either, they were counting, or I verbally, I heard them, or I saw them.
Right.
And so that helped me. I think that helped me become a better referee as well. In those moments, because now I can be like, okay, I know here they probably need, this is where I probably need to be seen, where I probably need to interject and let them know, like, hey, if you need something, I'm here. Just give me the word, and I'll get it where it needs to go.
And here's the thing. Like you said, referees are one of the tools wrestlers can use out there. Just like the ring's a tool we use, the fans is a tool for wrestlers too. From the ropes to the turnbuckles to whatever, a referee is a huge tool if you know how to use him. If I take a guy and I'm going to throw him out of the ring, out to the floor, obviously your first thing is get me back and then you go to make the count. Well, if he ain't coming in, if he ain't getting up by the 10 count and starting to move and look like he's going to get in, it's my job as the heel to come back to the rope, like I'm going to go out, so that forces you to back me back up, breaks the count, gives the dude. Then once you get through with me, to go back and start the count all over. A referee is a huge tool to a wrestler in the ring, and experienced referees are that much, man. Experienced referees are like a hammer in the ring sometimes. A guy who really knows how to use the referee, man, you can get a lot of mileage out of working with your referee in a wrestling match as a wrestler. Yeah. It's just simply that. Brandon, you were in a situation here a while back where a guy was outside of the ropes, got thrown out, and you made the count. You were told to count, but the guy didn't come back in. And what did I tell you? I told you if it would have been me in there, me as a heel, I throwed the guy out. You make the count, and I see the guy's not getting up. It's my job as the wrestler and the heel to come over there and force you to stop that count one way or another. That way you can back me up, and whatever. If the guy's not going to get up, then maybe if there's a manager, he can get over there and throw the guy back in the ring. If it's a tag match, maybe one of the other wrestlers can go over there and throw the guy back in the ring while the referee's tied up with me as the heel. He don't see what's going on over here. Yeah. But it's my job as a heel to make sure the referee don't do something he's not supposed to do too.
Can I add something to that, Buster, real quick?
Yeah, go.
So if the heel throws the face out of the ring, initially, right, like you said, he'll come up, get the ref to turn them around and get them back for a second so they can start the count. If the guy doesn't get up, if the face isn't getting up on the floor, either he'll come back to the ref, get him again, or go outside the ring and get the guy. and then work on the outside of the ring on the floor, get some more heat. Generate heat. You're a heel. That's what you're
Right.
looking for, is to generate the heat. If you go outside and you go after that baby face instead of standing in the ring waiting for the face to get back in, then it's getting you more heat and getting your job is being done even better.
Right.
So I just wanted to put that in there.
Brandon, you were actually in this situation. So talk to us about your thoughts on it.
I mean, well, like I said, I knew the finish of the match, but like I said, the face got thrown out. I started my count. Though the heel was in the ring, he never. Once I started my 10 count, the heel never came to me so I can back him up or anything. So me as a ref, I figure, hey, about 5 or 6, he'll start getting up. Well, again, the heel never came towards me, and I made the 10 count and run the bell.
And here's the thing, that goes back to the referee's count. Look, it ain't your job to look like a fool for the wrestler. There ain't nothing I hate worse than wrestlers making their referees look like stooges, because we talked about it from the get-go. The referee is the authority. And if we as wrestlers, look, as heels, it's our job to do shit behind your back, to position you where we want you so we can do this dirty stuff, so we can get heat without stooging you off pretty much and making you look like a damn fool. And I see it so much. A lot of times wrestlers will make their referees look like dumbasses out there. And once the referee's authority is blown with the fans,
yeah, it's over with.
it's over. It just is, man. But that's all the referee has is his authority. And I can do a lot of shit behind your back. And I got a 4 count to pretty much break anything. But once I get to that 4 count, if I don't break, it's your job to admonish me one way or another. I don't care if it's counting the 3 count or if it's a 10 count with a guy out. If the babyface don't get his ass up and come back in the ring, and he lets you make that 10 count and the heel don't stop it, that's on them. That's not on you as a referee. Not in my eyes, I don't believe.
Yeah.
Right.
Chuck, what's your thoughts about that, man?
So, like the whole counting, I will say that whenever I was like, they're on the ropes counting 1, 2, 3, 4, I got into the habit of positioning myself when the heel backs away from the ropes, I follow, just in case. So a lot of people have the pet peeve of when the heel backs up, don't grab your referee.
I don't like that either. The referee,
I don't like it.
Here's the thing. If I've got Brandon backed in the corner and I'm the heel, and you count me off, you count that, you start making that 5 count, I break on the 4, as I'm backing up, I'm backing up, but for me, the referee should follow me. He should turn around, keep me backing up so we can clear the ring and get back to action. I agree with you 100% on that, man.
Because it all goes back to, you are the authority. They're supposed to be having a clean fight. So
I hate, here's the thing. I'm sorry, Chuck. I hate when a wrestler will do something, throw a guy out or something, and when he's got his manager or his valet out there and she's going to do something, and he puts his arm around the referee and walks him. Goddamn, I'm sitting here thinking, first of all, as a referee, it makes you look dumb as shit. Why would you go for that? Why would you do that? You wouldn't.
Oh my gosh! I'm so glad you're gonna get me on the soapbox, Buster. I can't stand that crap.
Anytime anybody tried to do that with me, I wouldn't just stand there and have a conversation. I would be actively trying to turn around, taking their arm off, making them make me stay.
Get your hand off of me. I'm the referee. I'm the authority. If you touch me again, you'll be disqualified. You'll be out of here.
Right. But you don't want them to just turn you around and have their arm over your shoulder. Just like, hey, what's up, man?
when they take a referee and put their arm over and walk them completely across the ring and start pointing at a fan and the referee's sitting there playing into that, I'm thinking, oh, you motherfuckers are stupid. That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, God damn it, especially if it's a veteran wrestler, I'm thinking, why? It's a shortcut.
Yeah.
And it creates bad, it creates bad habits. It creates bad habits in referees because once you've done it enough, if you let a wrestler do it to enough, you become accustomed to it. So then you'll be doing that same shit with other things. You'll just go along with it when that's not a referee's position. And look, I don't like a referee that makes their wrestlers look like stooges, but I really hate a wrestler that makes their referees look like stooges.
Right. Yeah. So I pretty much got myself into the habit of, after that 4 count, follow them out, because I don't want them to babysit me while they're trying to, remember their stuff and what they need to do. So always follow the heel out if they're doing, like choking or whatever, because if they do have a manager, that gives their manager time to get some heat in. And then, then you're being useful. You're pulling, because like you said, you're supposed to be invisible, but you're only supposed to be seen when you want to be seen. So right there,
when you're supposed to be seen.
Yeah, it's okay to be seen, because you're putting the authority in. It's like, hey, I counted the 4. You're supposed to be doing this the way we talked about doing this. You're supposed to be having a clean, fair fight. You're not gonna push him off and just check on him. Oh my God, you just got choked. Are you okay? No.
Think about it like this. It's like a football game. If the referee goes to throw the flag and one of the players grabs him and walks him over to the sideline, referee don't throw the flag. How stupid does that look, man? I mean, it's the same premise, man. And it's a dance out there. It's a dance for everybody that's in that ring doing it. But it's got to be done properly, man. And here's the thing. If you make your referee look like a stooge, he loses his authority. You lose the people in the match. Sure, you're still going to have your match, and you can still get pops and stuff like that. But, man, the minute the people lose faith in their referee and the authority figure in there, then that cuts your heat down. As a heel, if I stooge you off, it's hard for me to get heat after that, because good heat comes when the referee is organically and naturally distracted while something else is going on behind his back without it looking like it's all planned to be that way.
Right.
Let me ask you guys this. Do you guys have magnets in your back pockets?
What?
Referees. Yeah, I feel like all referees, especially when you start, have magnets in your back pocket, and here's why. Because you fuckers can find the camera and block it constantly, man. Constantly. So, Alan, you and Chuck have both done some TV. Brandon just done his first TV. So, Alan, let's start with you. Talk about getting used to not blocking the camera, working the horseshoe. You got your hard camera, you got your mobile cameras, but you work the horseshoe around that hard camera. You don't you try your best not to never be caught with your back to that hard camera. So talk to me about that, because I feel like sometimes, man, look, and not just TV, when I used to record shows, man, it frustrates me so bad sometimes. You can ask Brandon. I've had Brandon walk by before, and I've said, motherfucker, work the other 3 sides of the ring. Get your back out of my camera. I can't see nothing, man. Alan, the floor is yours, dude.
Man, that working TV, working a show with cameras with a hard cam is completely different than working an indie show that has no cameras, besides maybe fans if they decide that they want to record. But knowing that horseshoe, and I had to get smartened up to this, because during COVID, we had wanted to put some stuff out, and so we were filming some matches outside at night. We had a ring outside. We had it lit up to where you could see everything, and we had a hard cam set up. And we did 1 or 2 matches, and one of the guys that was there came to me and said, "Hey, we've got a hard cam here. You've got to know where it is, because you don't want your back to be in that hard cam. You don't want to block anything. You want the fans that are watching this at home or wherever they are to be able to see everything that's going on in the ring. They were like, have you ever heard of the horseshoe? I said, no, I don't have a clue what you're talking about. They said the horseshoe, you work every side of the ring that doesn't have the hard cam on it. And so that way you can keep face with the hard cam and you're not blocking it. You're not blocking the view from anybody. And so once that got drilled into me, man, it's almost like it's almost an extra pressure situation because you're like, crap, now I got this hard cam that I got to think about, and I've got the rovers on the floor, and who knows where they're going to be half the time. You know,
the rovers, that's their job though. If your back ends up to them, they can move. That's what they do. They can move. But that hard camera, it's right there. And if you block that motherfucker, you're blocking the main shot of the match, man.
Yeah. And Brandon can tell you at Bluff, I think we had two guys that was their first time there to ref and first time working on TV. And so I took them all, right? I took all of them out and I said, look, you see where that hard cam is? They were like, yeah. I said, you ever heard of the horseshoe? What are you talking about? The horseshoe, man. And I went through the whole explanation again, and I showed them, where to be, where they needed to start out in the match when they get in the ring, like where not to have your back to. And I just, I tell them be aware of the rovers. You don't, you're not going to be able to stay out of the way of them because, like you said, they can move. But that hard cam, that joker is set there until it's taken down. The hard cam ain't moving. So work the hard cam. Make sure to tell your wrestlers, the guys that are in the match, where the hard cam is if they don't know where it is, because they need to work it. They need to be able to work that hard cam, and they need to be able to work those rovers too, because that's where, if people aren't at the shows, that's where people get invested, is by what they see on camera.
Right.
And it's a referee's job to be able to direct that as well, and direct the wrestlers on where they need to be. But if the referee's back is to the hard cam and blocking the view, well then, he might as well just, dismiss the match and say the hell with it all, because you're not doing any good if you're blocking the view of what's going on inside the ring and the story, you're blocking the story of what the guys are trying to get across.
Right. Chuck, you've had TV experience too, so we'll get Brandon last on this because he's had the least, but what's your thoughts of that, of working the horseshoe and learning that you have to do this,
Well, the first part of my referee stuff, I didn't have any cameras to deal with. So when I first went down to EPW, that's whenever I first started doing the TV. I think that's really the only place I've worked at TV.
Right.
Other than Memphis. But when I first went to EPW, they were telling me about it, and they're like, they didn't call it a horseshoe. They just said, you see these three corners, you stay there. Don't go to this one. Stay in these over here.
Mm-hmm.
And you work this way and that way. And like you said, Alan, it does build a little bit of pressure, because then you're like, well, dang, what if they pin over there and I got to get over there? Oh no, what if their shoulders are on the side of the hard cam? I got to be able to look at their shoulders. I can't just 1, 2, 3 all the way over here,
Right.
Yeah.
So working with the camera is a little difficult, and like you said, Buster, the rovers are there to move out of the way, so you can put the magnets to that camera all you want to.
And here's the thing too, it's not just you guys that have to work that horseshoe. The guys in the ring, the wrestlers, need to know where that hard camera is. That's the first thing I was told.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I ever worked TV, I was told, if you don't know nothing else, go find the hard camera. Find it. And it's our job as wrestlers to position ourselves in the ring too, where we're not putting you in a position to where you got to put your back to that hard cam. Right. Because it's hard sometimes. I mean, there's a lot going on in a wrestling match, a lot of moving parts, and sometimes even the best, you just end up in a place that you didn't really plan on being sometimes, and you got to make the best of it, know? And Chuck, let me ask you this, because here's the thing, a lot of referees who've never done TV, if they spend a lot of time refereeing on regular shows, no cameras or nothing, did it make it harder for you to break the habits of not being able to kind of be anywhere in the ring? Was it harder for you? Or
I would say yes and no. Because I mean, I've caught myself in the way of the wrestlers multiple times. You know, you got to jump out of the way and whatnot. But knowing that hard camera's there, and as long as you know, hey, you move in this certain direction, you should be fine. Like whenever I started working Memphis, whenever I was like refereeing in Memphis, they didn't have a horseshoe and they didn't have an L shape. They had, I think, like pinpoints. So it's like you stand on this side of the turnbuckle when the match starts. You can stand on either side during the match, or you can go to the other turnbuckle and stand over here, go to the other sides, because they didn't want you to be moving around too much, I guess. I have no clue. They had 2 cameras on the floor. So I didn't know if they wanted you to stay in one spot, then move here if needed, or if they were just trying to keep you from getting sweaty from doing a lot of cardio. But I mean, no, I wouldn't really say it did make that big of a difference, but it was definitely a change in pace based on where I can go and what I can do. You know, in an indie match where there are no cameras, you have free reign. You go wherever you really want to. You can get as close as you want to, because some shows they don't want you all up on the wrestler. Hey, you got to get off of them. They want you to have space, stick your arm out, and be like, hey, you got to get away from them. You know.
Well, that's something too. Here's one thing I find really young referees, inexperienced referees, they feel like, it seems like they feel like they've got to be right up with the wrestlers when there ain't no reason for it. Here's the thing. If these guys are just wrestling and there ain't no referee shit to do, they ain't doing nothing illegal, ain't choking, ain't raking eyes.
Yeah,
they ain't pushing somebody in the back in the ropes where you got to break the count. I feel like a lot of young referees feel like they've got to be right there, so tight to these wrestlers when you really don't need to be. Look, here's the thing: give the wrestlers their space until it's time, till they do something that needs to be admonished. That's when the referee interjects himself. Other than that, if a match if you got guys just chain wrestling, going back and forth, bumping this and that, and ain't nobody going for no pins, you just kind of stay out of their way and let it happen until there's something where the referee is needed. And that's when you interject yourself. Definitely give your wrestler space, because I see it a lot, like you said, kind of being in the way sometimes. The wrestlers go to do something and boom, you either got to hit the referee or you got to adjust what you're doing, or the referee's got to try to run out of the way. And look, it happens.
Yeah,
it happens in the best. Yes, it happens in the best of situations, but overall, I feel like sometimes inexperienced referees crowd their wrestlers.
Yes.
Brandon, you just had your first TV experience, man. So talk to us a little bit about your first TV experience and having to make a point, because I've been around Brandon pretty much since he started. So this ain't Bluff City wasn't the first time he's heard. Stay out of the way of the fucking hard camera, you know. So he kind of had an idea, but talk to us about actually being there, and you've got TV taping going on, you got your hard camera, and having to remember that, hey, I got to stay out of the way. I can't put my back to this hard camera and block the shots.
Right, definitely. That was something different. Like I said, Alex, he took us out there and showed us the horseshoe. And once I got in the ring for the first time, like I said, being an indie show, you got the freedom of the whole ring, pretty much. But when you're out there and you know where that hard cam is, it was something to get used to. Like, hey, I can't be over here. I got to stay on these 3 sides. I can't go over there. So it was something different, but to me, it's a whole lot different than indie show, because you got the freedom of the ring. But that hard cam, you can't. So I had to, remind myself, hey, that hard cam is right over there. Don't get in front of it. And I kind of got confused when I come out, like the Bluff City, when you come out to go to the ring, do I walk? Is it okay for me to walk in front of the hard cam? I guess it didn't really matter because the match wasn't going on. Right. I meant to ask Alex that, but I forgot. So now that you hear me asking that, so there's a certain way when I come out to the ring that I need to walk. Is it okay to walk in front of the hard cam even though I'm going just to the ring?
I would. So with the way the bluff setup was at the arena, for that show that you came in on, with where they had the announcers set up, which was like right outside the curtain. It was right to the right of the curtain whenever you walked out,
Right.
and I would have walked down in front of them to the
Okay.
side and then got up there that way, or either you could have went to the back of the ring, to the back side of it, and got in from there. That way, it's never blocking the hard cam, and just do it like that. And that's one of the things that Buster, we talked about experience, and there's so much that I don't even think of now. And just like with that, I don't even think of it. It's one of those things that I just do, just like muscle memory. And so whenever I'm talking to guys, I forget. I wouldn't say a lot, but I forget some pivotal things that whenever they go out there and they ref, and I see it, I'm like, man, you idiot! like
Right.
like you almost set them up for disaster because you forgot this one spot, or this one thing. But that's not really that big of a deal that I would harp on. It's just something that, like, I'm glad you asked that because I didn't even notice at Bluff. But yeah, I would go down in front of the announcers
Mm.
and then go around to the back side of the ring and come up there.
All right. All right.
So let me ask you guys this: all three of y'all referees, over animated referees, and we see it all the time now. And I'm gonna give you two examples. You watch WWE, their referees, unless they have spots, pretty well disappear in the match. You watch AEW, and it's like every single referee wants to be. They want the camera to notice them. They're selling what the wrestlers do every time. Man, ain't nothing I hate worse looking. I think it started with probably the Big Show and Brock Lesnar, the big suplex that broke the ring. They did the suplex off the ropes, and obviously when they hit, the referee jumped. But you got 700, 800 pounds of guys hitting the canvas. I see it all the time now. Wrestlers are just in the ring, shoulder tackles and stuff, and the refs be jumping. Every time a wrestler bumps, the ref jumps. Or if they're throwing punches, the referee's doing this too. It's the wrestler's job to sell their own shit. So
Right.
talk to me
Right.
about over animated referees and what y'all's thoughts and opinions on that situation. Chuck, let's start with you on that one.
Okay, well, I'll start off by saying I was over animated when I first started. And with time, I found out, well, it's not about me. Well, no. I am guilty of the shoulder tackle jump spot. I am guilty of that. I will own up to that. But a part of it is like, you're a piece of the puzzle that makes the match fun to watch. So,
Right.
like, at some point, you're like, well, the eyes are on me, or well, the eyes aren't on me. That some people might still be paying attention to you. So it's okay to do some things, just don't do it to a ridiculous thing. Like if somebody hits the ropes, comes off and takes the shoulder tackle, don't rub you can rub your shoulder, or you can jump. Don't jump 10 feet in the air.
Well,
Just
here's
Right.
the thing. Here's
just
the
do like a
thing.
little bump.
To me, the logic behind that is you're a professional. All right, you don't see UFC fight referees selling you really don't see them selling none of the shit.
No.
You know what I mean? You,
They
you
sell-
don't really see you don't see football referees, and I know it's a different thing, but you don't see them selling shit the guys do. You
Right.
don't see basketballs referee it. You're the authority figure, and this is something that, and obviously most people around here know. Right now, wrestling's mostly on a weekend thing. Friday,
Right.
Saturday night. But think if it was back in the day and this was something you did 4, 5, 6, 7 times a week. Do you think those referees? I feel like that. I don't even know how to say this. I feel like when you do that, when you sell too much of the, because I'll be honest with you, me as a wrestler, if I'm in the ring wrestling, I see you selling all our shit, I'm gonna stop selling. Why do I need to sell if you're selling every fucking thing we do? You know what I mean? To me, that an old school guy, that's the quickest way to break a referee from doing that. We take a bump, I'm just gonna take that motherfucker and sit there, let you sell it, whether you jump or whatever. And then you're looking around like, well, what the fuck is going on? Why ain't they doing that? I'm like, well, motherfucker, you're the star of the show.
Right. You
know, and look, like I said, Big Show, Brock Lesnar, off the ropes, yes. Them motherfuckers hit the ring with a big superplex. Obviously, that's a lot of damn weight. There's 1,000 pounds almost hitting that ring. Jumping's perfectly fine, but man, I see so many guys do it with every single bump. And it's just not that either. It's like I said, the punches, everything. I feel like if this was real referees wouldn't do that. Right. You get what I'm saying? To me, when a referee does that, you kind of, at times, I feel like you stooge yourself off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just is. And Brandon knows. Brandon's done it a time or two, and I had to get on his ass about it. Especially the jumping.
I still see, I mean, not me, but, you know, I don't do it, but I've seen it, you know, and Buster, you know what I'm talking about. You know, they jump. I see one referee, no, he sell, like he said, he sell the bump better than the wrestler does. He's jumping higher than the second rope. I'm like, man, what are you doing? I mean, so it's just crazy. But that Buster had got on me, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, that goes back to where if I mess up or anything, or anybody tell me anything, I'm open here. You know, if you tell me, I'd rather you tell me what I'm doing wrong than don't tell me at all.
Right. Well, you can't learn if you're doing something wrong out there and somebody don't correct you or bring it to your attention. And I'm not saying you don't got to go in the back and bitch somebody out. You just got to say, hey, man, you know, and explain to them why when you're hey, you know, maybe you want to do it like this instead of that. Don't just tell them some shit and then go on. I feel like as a veteran, if I'm going to give somebody some advice, then I should kind of explain to them the logic behind it and why. You know, why you might want to not do that. Alan, are you still with us?
Yes, sir.
It's up for you, man.
Sorry about that.
What do you think about these over-animated referees, man?
I think it needs to be like it's if it's the right spot, like you were talking about with Brock and Big Show. It makes sense for Brian Hebner there to jump 10 feet in the air. You know, to be thrown 10 feet in the air. I'm a bigger guy, so like if there's a superplex between 250-pound guys, it doesn't make sense for me to allow myself to fly. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense there. But if it's a guy like Walker Hayes and a guy like Buck Skinner, and they're working and they do the superplex off the top rope, well then as soon as the impact happens, there's going to be enough spring in the mat to where if I loosen my body up enough, I'm going to come up off the canvas.
A lot of times you don't even have to jump. Like you said, certain rings, real springy rings, two big guys, you take 600-700 pounds off top rope and that momentum hitting that canvas, it automatically bounces you up.
Yeah, and it's in the ref selling aspect, and I'm guilty of it. Right when you were talking about the punches back and forth and the ref moving their head with the punches, like I'm guilty of that. I'll do that, but it's not every time that it happens. I don't do it every time it happens. But if it's like heavy blows, like I'm gonna sell. You know, I'm gonna move myself like not as if I'm taking the hit, but like I'm feeling the pain of the guys getting hit. You know, that's kind of my mindset on it.
Well, I think that when you do that, I think less selling with your body and more selling with your face. Just the facial expressions. You don't have to sell the shot, but you can grimace. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Somebody takes a hard shot, you can grimace with your face, and if people's paying attention to you, they notice it subconsciously. If they're not, it don't matter anyway. If they're looking at the wrestlers and don't see you do it anyway, it didn't matter no way. I think if you go back and watch old referees, watch their faces. They don't do a lot of selling with their body, really hardly none at all, unless there's a spot that they're doing, that they're included into. But if you watch their faces, guys take big bumps. They'll grimace or hard shots. They'll kind of sell a little bit with a facial expression. And as a referee and an authority figure, man, I think that's when it really plays in good with what's going on. Here's a perfect example. Aubrey Edwards. And she fine as hell, don't get me wrong. But when any match she referees, you can tell she wants the fans and the crowd to notice her.
Yep.
Yeah.
She wants to be one of the stars of the match or the show. And it ain't just her. Like I said, if go watch WWE, go watch modern WWE and go watch AEW, and 9 times out of 10, every referee in AEW sells everything for the wrestlers. You go watch WWE, unless the referee has a spot, you don't see a lot of selling. You might see some facial expressions. If it's 2 big giant guys and they take a bump, you might see something there. But overall, they just kind of disappear into the match, into the background.
Yep.
You forget they're there. And that's I was always told from veterans, that's the best referee, is the one that you forget, that the fans forget is even in there until the referee's needed. That you know.
I did want to add something to that.
Okay.
So it's not, so like you said, don't sell every aspect of the match. So like the way I would think about it was only sell the things that were relatable in a way. Like if somebody gets chopped, rub your chest, go ooh, or something like that, because if somebody out in the crowd's noticing, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, the ref don't want no part of that, so I don't either. So I would only sell to the things that would be like relatable, or I would be selling to the point to where I'm somewhat in the match, like I'm really into it.
Right.
Like, they're doing blow for blow. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Oh my gosh, there's a big one. Boom. Oh my goodness. That's how I was selling whenever I was doing the referee stuff. So that made it more fun on my part, because it was like I felt like I was a fan at that point, just watching.
Yeah. And those matches are fun. Like in moments like that, like you're talking about, like those are when you can get taken out and forget that you're actually the third man in this.
Yeah.
And you forget and you're watching it as a fan. Like those are important moments, because then too it brings out the reality of your reactions and things too, and the realness of that. And so it helps relate it to the fans even more that are watching, because like holy crap, like if the ref is if it's real to the ref and he's seeing it like this and he's reacting the way he's reacting, then holy crap, like those guys are going at it.
Right.
Like
but
it's a thin line between doing just enough and doing way too much, like Aubrey.
Well, here's the logic in my head behind that. You're a referee. You see this happen every day, day in and day out. You've been in the middle of matches. I mean, the people, obviously right now around here it's only weekends, but back in the day, I mean, people, if you're a referee, sometimes you referee 5, 6, 7, maybe even more times a week, depending on Saturday morning and TV and then a house show. And then if you were doing tapings, how many shows? At the end of the day, I feel like I only sell the spectacular shit, because you've seen as a referee, you've seen 1,000 backdrops. You've seen guys get hit with 1,000,000 hard clotheslines. You've seen guys get hit with punches to the face, knees to the face, kicks, body slam. You wouldn't be selling none of that. It's the things like you mentioned a while ago, like a low blow. Let's say you're a referee and a guy low blows a guy and you catch it. Well, you don't want to sell it like the wrestler, but that don't mean you can't kind of bring your legs in close and facially like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you
Right.
could feel that.
Yeah. Just flinch a little bit.
Here's the thing with wrestling, and it's changed so much over the past 20, 25 years. Everything used to be based on logic and reality in a sense that even 20 years ago, we still had to uphold kayfabe, which means if you out on the street and a motherfucker challenged you as a wrestler, I mean, you had to fight. It was simple as that. You had to fight, and the promoters were like that. You know, what's the story with Bill Watts? Don't go your ass to the bar and get whooped tonight. If you do, you're gone. I can't have everybody in the towns we're running see you get your ass kicked in a bar, and then I'm putting you over on TV every Saturday. You know, you got to use logic in a sense that here's wrestlers, all of us, wrestlers and referees, even though it's a work, we need to all treat it like it's real. When you're out there, like it's a real sport. And that goes back to, like I said, I don't watch UFC, man. You don't see these referees sell shit. You're there to do a job, and your job is to referee the match, be the authority figure. And if you see this shit every night of the week, why are you selling every little move? You know what I mean? It's just we need to bring a lot of the logic back to wrestling. I feel like because that's what makes it work. Here's the thing: wrestling fans come to wrestling because they want to believe. They know it's a work, but it's like going to a movie. You go in a theater, you don't walk in that theater in your head, well, this shit's fake. If you go in that theater and a movie does its job, 30 minutes in, you're glued to that movie. You ain't thinking you're in that. You're in the middle of that. You're not sitting here watching it the whole time thinking, I'll be glad when this bullshit's over, it's fake. Wrestling fans are the same way. They don't spend their money on pro wrestling to have us treat it like it's fake. You get what I mean?
Right.
They want to be invested. They want to be invested in something. And like I was saying on a little live that myself and Big Daddy Storm did the other night, when people come to wrestling shows, wrestling events, because I don't like using the word shows, when people come to wrestling events, they come to be taken away from the reality of their everyday life.
Right.
And it is our job as these individuals, I don't even know if I like using the word performers or not, but it's our job as wrestlers, as referees, as anything to do with this business, to take them away from whatever ailments they're going on in their life, like in their everyday life. Like, that's our job. If we can get them invested in hating somebody, hating a heel, or loving a babyface, then we're doing what we're supposed to do, because they're coming there to be taken away from all the junk that they deal with on a day-to-day basis. Like, they come inside this building, they're here to be taken away from that. And they want to be. If they didn't want to be taken away from the reality of everything going on outside, they wouldn't be there. They wouldn't come to spend their hard-earned money to see this event. And it's our job to make it reality and to make it real and to make these people feel something. And I think that that's one of the things that has went away, that's missing nowadays, because everybody just wants to do their cool moves, and they want to do flips, and they want to do all this crap that has no story and no way for the fans to be invested in what they're doing. Man, get back to the storytelling. Like, think about Triple H and Shawn Michaels leading up to when Triple H turned on Shawn, leading up to I believe it was their like 3 Stages of Hell match that they did at SummerSlam in like 2002 or something. But when Shawn Michaels is standing in the ring and Triple H is standing in the ring after Shawn Michaels had just been attacked, a couple weeks earlier, and they're watching the surveillance video back on the Titantron, and it shows somebody coming up, hitting Shawn from behind and just beating him down, and then that person turns around and it's Triple H, the fans just, oh, that's how you get people. You tell stories, and so often it's so many people have lost it nowadays, and I don't know if it goes back to not being trained properly and so many guys just not having the proper training, or what it is, or if it's just, so many guys have such big egos that it's got to be about me and I can do all this cool stuff, so let me do it. And I don't know what it is, Buster. Maybe you can speak more on that and where it went wrong, because that's one of the questions I have all the time for Storm is like, where did the business change? When did it go wrong? Like, when did it take that wrong turn and just go into all this stuff about more moves, more so move sets than the storyline based stuff.
And characters. Here's the thing. As a pro wrestler, you want the fans to invest in you, your character, your persona, who you are as a person. Once you get them, if you can get the fans to invest in you as a person, once they're emotionally attached to you, you can do anything and it'll damn near work. It does not matter. You don't have to go out there and have spot fest where it's just boom, boom, boom. The fans, I think that's where we've lost it. I feel like modern wrestlers a lot of times think it's what they do in the ring, all these moves, when it's really about having the fans connect emotionally with you as a wrestler, as a character, as a person. Once you have that, then you can go out there and work a headlock and a chain. Look at Jerry Lawler. How many years has Jerry Lawler got millions of miles out of working a chain? Sometimes a chain he didn't even have.
Right.
But people believed it because they were invested in Jerry Lawler, who he was as a person, as a wrestler. I think that's where it starts. I feel like wrestlers need to concentrate more on connecting with the fans than actually doing a bunch of moves out there. Because here's the thing about wrestling fans. You can make a wrestling fan pop off of damn near anything. If you think just because you're getting pops, you're having a successful match, you're not. A successful match is the one that when people are riding home in their car, they're talking about and thinking about.
Yeah.
The next day at work, that's the successful. That spot fest, they done forgot about that. It's because there's another one coming. There was another one right after it. But it's the guys who get the fans invested into them emotionally that become the biggest stars, and it starts right there with me. I feel like once you develop your persona and your character, and you can get a fan whether you're a heel or a babyface, if you can get them emotionally invested into you, man, the floodgates are open. You can do anything. And look, I don't have nothing against spots. Look, as a big guy, I always like working with smaller guys because I like to run spots. Mm-hmm. I don't want to just be a big guy and have guys bouncing off of me. I love running spots, but you can't just run spots. These spots have to be positioned and placed. Here's the thing. If we start a match out and we start out in the first 90 seconds, guys are already flipping over the rope to the outside on guys, where do we go from there? If you start at the top of the Empire State Building, there's nowhere to go but to jump off and hit the ground. Where if we start at the bottom of the Empire State Building and we bring that crowd up step by step with us until we get to the top, when we get to the climax and the finish happens, it's magic.
Yeah.
It just, I think it starts with the guys. I think it starts with the wrestlers. I think wrestlers need to concentrate on emotionally connecting with their audience.
Yep.
No, I will add. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, go ahead. No, dude, I was done anyway. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, when you said that the fans will pretty much pop from anything, I remember in my first match with Jason, we were in the back and he was saying, "I'm gonna have you in a headlock and you're gonna reverse it and you're gonna put me in a headlock. They're gonna pop for it." And I'm sitting there thinking, "What? They're gonna pop for that?" Sure enough, I go out there, he smacks me in that headlock, and he gives me the Iggy, and I reverse it, and the crowd just goes unglued. And then after that, I hit him with an arm drag. They came even more unglued. And
Can I ask you a question about that? Was that at MIW? Did I ref that match? Did I ref your first match with Jason?
I don't know. I think you did. Because it was the match where it was I was refereeing it, and then something happened, and he didn't get the 3 count, and then I counted the 3 when he got rolled up, and then he jumps on me, and then I started wrestling right then and there.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't know who my referee was. It might have been you, or it might have been Nick. I'm not sure.
Because I remember that match because yeah, like you said, the story was uh, he had felt like you had screwed him, right?
Yeah.
And then he jumped on you, and that led to you two having a match.
Right.
And then you came out, and like you said, it just the smallest things they were popping because he had done his job to get sympathy on you, and you did your job to get that sympathy from them. And
Right.
so when you just took that headlock and you did the arm drag, then bam, like because they're already behind you.
And here's the thing about Jason. Jason's a prime example. Good character development, really good character development. That's why they're popping on that simple shit for you, because they're invested in him.
Yep.
They're already invested in him, which then it makes them invest in you. Because Jason as a heel, Jason's a good heel.
Oh, so good.
You want to see him get his ass kicked. Same thing with Trace Hunt.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they're doing the initiative. Trace Hunt, awesome character development. And that's when you can do simple shit. You don't have to go out there and break your neck to get over. You know, but both of those guys have spent a lot of time developing their persona and their character and getting the fans to be emotionally attached to those guys, whether they hate them or love them.
Yeah.
You know. All right, guys, we're fixing to start winding it down. One question I want to get to: earpieces. Back in the day, referees hardly ever had them. Everything was you were told in the back what was going to go down, what to do if you had a spot. And a lot of times back in the day, referees wasn't even filled in on finishes, because a lot of times if a referee knows what the finish is, that will fuck his cadence up with his count, because if a guy don't kick out, the referee will pull the count, which kills it. It kills it all right then. The minute one of you guys go to count 3 and the guy's supposed to kick out but he don't, and you don't make that third count, it's over. You've lost the fans. You've killed everything that the rest, and it ain't your fault. Well, it is if you pull the count, but that's why I was always told, referee, go out and do a referee's job. If a motherfucker don't get his shoulders up, that's his problem. That is his fault. It's not your job. It ain't your job to do his job. It's his job.
You're working it as a shoot. Referees working it as a shoot. Counts are shoots, like, So, but let's talk earpieces, because I notice now, especially any TV tapings, pretty much, they've got earpieces, and a lot of times now, even on just house shows, I'm seeing refs with earpieces. Have any of you guys ever worked without earpieces, or have you always worked with earpieces?
I started out without the earpiece, and then when I went into EPW, they gave me an earpiece, and I'm just like, ooh, this might make it a little bit more difficult. But it really wasn't. They weren't like telling me, hey, so-and-so needs to do this, this, and this. They were just telling me, hey, you got like 3 minutes.
Right.
And then I'd have to go tell the veteran of the match, hey, you got this much time, without looking like on camera, hey, you have this much time.
Right.
Like,
just
go check on them, hide it a little bit. But the earpiece wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't like, it didn't like rock my world and make it 10 times more difficult. It was a little annoying having to try to fix it every like 5-10 minutes. But other than that, the earpieces are okay. I recommend. I don't recommend, but I would rather not have an earpiece in.
Brandon, what's your thoughts on earpieces? I know you just now, really recently, over the past probably 6-7 months, got to work with earpieces, so you did most of your repping without them.
So most of my when I started out, I didn't have an earpiece. I just basically went out there. I knew what the finish was. That was the case. But I want to say the first show I ever done with earpiece was, I want to say PPW, which Premier Pro Wrestling. I think that's the first show I ever wore earpiece. My cousin, he uses them, and in the Bluff City, I think that's the only 3 shows I've done with earpiece. I don't really have a problem with them, but like Norbit said, you got to adjust it like every 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes. You got to get it just right. And one thing I don't like about it, when you get to a show, you get dressed, get all your referee stuff on, and they come and say, "Hey, put your headpiece on." So you got to take your shirt off and put it back on. But I don't really have a problem with it. It is different because you can get, especially if you get in the match, doing what you're doing, prepare to pay attention, and somebody talks in your ear. I'm not gonna lie, it scared me the first time. I'm like, who the hell is talking in my ear? And so that was my cousin. He was talking stupid shit through the earpiece, but it was just him.
So Ray was basically fucking with you, huh?
Yeah, he's like, do this if you hear me. And I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Got your ass, got Brandon in the ring doing jumping jacks while the match is going on and shit.
Either way, I wear them. I don't wear them, depending on what show I go to. If they want me to wear them, I had thinking about investing in one like the own earpiece itself, not the radio, but I've done some show where they give me the headpiece and I look at it and the end of it is covered in earwax. I'm like, I'm not putting that in my ear. I'm not putting that in my ear. You know what I mean? So,
hey brother, here's some advice on that. Get you a thing of baby wipes and take it with you.
That's a good idea.
Take it with you.
Or eyeglass cleaners. I had one at the last Bluff City tape, and I had it for my glasses, and I broke it out, cleaned my glasses. I told Brandon, so you get you some of these, man. You clean that motherfucker off. Got alcohol
There you go.
and shit.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
So
I know.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I know. Whenever I got my earpiece with EPW, the first day I tried to give it back, and they're like, "Nah, dude, that's been in your ear. You keep that. That's yours now. Welcome to the team."
It's not a bad idea.
There you go. There you go, man. And I like that. I like that. Keep up with that motherfucker too, because if you come back and you ain't got it, then we're gonna charge you for it.
It stays in my bag. I never take it out.
Alan, what about you and earpieces, man?
I didn't. The first time that I used the earpiece was whenever I started working for Memphis Wrestling, and I didn't like it. I still really, honestly, don't like them, just because of like Chuck and Brandon said, you're having to readjust them and mess with them because they don't fit properly, because everybody's ears are shaped different. And then you got the cord too. But using them at Memphis and then using them at CCW, and we've used them at APW a few times, and then using them at Bluff as well. Sometimes you just get used to it and you're like, all right, I know what I got to deal with. I know what's happening, and making sure the channel is on the right channel before you go out, and the battery in the walkie is charged up, and then I learned this trick from Allison Lee, referee Allison Lee. She told me, she said, because I was having issues with it up at CCW with the cord, and she said, so I've got a slit in the back pocket of my pants that I run that cord through, and the walkie sits in my back pocket.
Right.
So that way I don't have to worry about the trying to have the cord sticking out over my pants while my shirt's tucked in.
Right.
And you're just able to put it right through the slit in the back of your pocket, and it goes right into your pocket, and it's never seen. But the issue with that is if the cord's not long enough, then it could pop out of the radio, and then you lose all contact with whoever's talking in the back and giving you times or whatnot. And so it's almost like a double negative. It's good when it works properly, but then when it doesn't and something goes wrong, it comes out or something, or the radio dies, then you're left out on an island, and you got the boys asking you for time, and you're like, I don't know. And so,
Right.
And some people, I've heard some referees talk about using watches, and I'm one of the guys that doesn't like for things to be for me to have things on my wrist, just because for whatever reason I feel restricted. And so I've done it before using a watch to kind of keep time that way, but I don't like it. So I try to now, like I try to have an internal clock in my head and keep up with it that way.
Right.
If walkies aren't being used, but yeah, it's not. I'm not a fan of the earpieces unless it like absolutely has to be used for TV or something like that.
That's like chewing gum. Wrestlers chewing gum in the ring. Man,
Right.
they tell you chew gum, it'll keep you from blowing up. I don't know about that. I know every time I try to chew gum when I first started, that shit ends up flying somewhere in the audience or in the middle of the ring. I don't see how guys do it, man. Look, guys, I want to thank all y'all for coming on. It's been a really interesting show, man. I've been looking forward to it. Each one of you guys, man, I appreciate y'all for giving me your time, coming on, and just smartening us up to the referee's perspective and
and,
point of view about wrestling, guys.
hey, Buster, before we go, I know Norbit and Alex here, they had a match. I don't know if you remember EIW, I had one off match. Me and Home Alone versus SARS and the other referee.
I do remember
Uh,
that, man.
it was a fan strap match. Basically, I was a heel referee. I called SARS the belt. So, and, SARS had the idea. He's like, we're going to lead into a match. I was like, okay. He said, down the road. Well, I go out there and screw him over. He gets on the microphone. He's like, yeah, next week you're in a match. I'm like, what?
Yeah, you got your ass.
I didn't do much, you know what I'm saying? When I got in there, he got in, you know what I'm saying? I basically powdered out, you know what I'm saying? But I did get a few moves in. I mean, but it was fun. But I just want to mention that. I forgot to mention that.
So basically, Sarge worked your ass into getting strapped with them belts.
Yeah, that's it.
What it is, basically, I like the heel. So I asked him, could I be a heel? He let me come up with an idea, and he came up with a good idea. And they go where the fans, pop for the fans. At that time, I was a pretty popular referee, but when I turned, like literally, I had to have a security guard walk me to the back to the dressing room. They hated me. Like literally, one guy said, "I'm gonna whoop your." I'm like, "The security, where you at?" So,
guys, like I said, it's I appreciate each one of you guys for coming on, man. It's been 2 hours and it's flew by.
Yeah.
And I, like I said, I appreciate each one of you for giving us your time and your insights into the wrestling business, into the refereeing, and into being wrestlers.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us. It's been a blast, man. Like you said, it's been 2 hours, and it doesn't even feel like that.
Yeah, it hasn't. It feels like it's been like 30 minutes.
right.
Well, I knew with it being 4 of us, this one was gonna. I knew we was gonna put in a little time, but it's flown by, man. It's flown by.
Not much dead air, so that was good.
Right.
There you go.
No dead air. We don't want no dead air.
Hey, where are you guys at this weekend? Are y'all working anywhere this weekend?
You go first, Brandon.
Tomorrow night, I'm in Manila, Arkansas. We're doing a benefit show. I think a 16-year-old girl got, I want to say she, correct me, but I think she got burned up in a house or something. So we're doing a benefit show. All the money goes toward her funeral expenses and everything. And Saturday, I'm in Ultra with WWP, which is Wrestling with Pride, and my cousin's show. But tomorrow night is TNR Wrestling. So I got 2 shows this weekend.
Sweet.
And Alan, I know y'all got a show in Coldwater, man. We used to work at the Shriners building, the place y'all are going to be, man. Had many matches in that building. Y'all have got a benefit show that y'all are doing for somebody, right?
Yes, sir. Crossroads Wrestling tomorrow night at the Northwest Shriners building in Coldwater, right off Highway 51 in Coldwater, Mississippi. A lot of wrestling history in that building that I wasn't really aware of, but we're going to try and create some more tomorrow night, doing a benefit show for a kid named Hayden Smith out of Senatobia, Senatobia High School student. He had a swimming pool accident of some kind, and I believe it left him paralyzed, and so. This is a fundraiser to raise funds for his family. to help with their medical expenses. And so we're looking to have a big turnout tomorrow night, and hoping we do. Doors open at 6. Bell time is at 7. Tickets are going to be $10 at the door, and like I said, all proceeds are going to that family. And so the Northwest Shriners were kind enough to give us this building for free, so we're not having to pay for this building. All the proceeds tomorrow night are going towards the family of Hayden Smith, and so it's going to be a big night tomorrow. Very important for this family, and it's this is what Crossroads Wrestling was built for, was for situations like this, so we could help out the community and help out families in need. And so really looking forward to that. And then Saturday I'll be at AWA in Blytheville. So I'll be up there doing some commentary. Apparently, I got told I was going to be doing some commentary. So where you going to be at, Buster? What in the world, man? Come
Dude,
on now.
I actually got this week off. I actually ain't going nowhere. Me and the family's going out tomorrow night, and school just started, man, Wednesday. The kids are all back in school, so it's the last weekend. I don't have no shows. We're going to go out and do something this weekend. Next Friday night now, I'll be at Premier Pro I'll be announcing at Premier Pro doing commentary. And then back at Bluff on August 31st in Somerville.
Yep.
And
that date just got announced, yeah.
And then I'm gonna miss the 14th show because that's my kid's birthday. I got my two oldest kids. They were born a week apart, so we throw this big birthday party for both of them at the same time on the 14th. So I won't be at that one, but I'll be back at Lafayette's on the 17th of September.
Deal. Did you plan it that way with your kids? Did you plan it that way?
Well, we had the birthday planned, and I was talking to Johnny about it, and he was telling me dates, and I said, "Hey, man, I can't do the 14th, man." But that's going to be the Cooper Young
Festival, yeah.
Right. And I look, AHCW last weekend at the river turned out to be a real cool show, good breeze. Ain't nothing I hate worse than outdoor shows in the summertime.
Right.
I'm too fat to be sitting in the heat cooking, man. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Just waiting for them mosquitoes to come out and get you.
They did good up there, man. Mark told me, he said they usually do real good about keeping the mosquitoes down, and I don't remember having any mosquito problems whatsoever.
I didn't. I was there. I didn't feel nothing on me or nothing like that. So
now, Chuck, you got a big match Friday night at MIW, right?
Oh yeah. I think I'm going up against Trace Hunt. I'm not too sure. I'm not 100%.
Walker 13, ain't it?
No, that was last weekend.
Oh, last
weekend.
I hope you punched him so hard in the nose it left that joker more crooked than what it is.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a match at MIW tomorrow night. Not 100% sure on who it is or what's going on, but I do know for a fact Saturday I'm going to be going back to UCW in Union City. They just opened back up.
Right.
I did my first Rumble there. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. And I'm happy that they're letting me come back. And I'll be going up against Race Richards, which is another one of Jason's graduates.
Well, that'll be cool.
So
yeah. I'm not, but 26 miles from Union City.
Oh man,
I'm gonna have to check UCW out, man. What was it before? I can't remember what it was. It's been right on the tip of my tongue. Is it the same people that were doing Union City and then they had a fire or a flood and it kind of shut them down? Is it the same people running it?
I honestly, if I knew the answer to that, I'd give you an answer, but I have no idea. I'm pretty new to the surrounding areas for wrestling because up until recently, I thought it was really just MIW, Memphis Wrestling, and EPW. And now I'm starting to find out, there's TIWF and other places that are pretty close by. I'm still learning about all these places. And so, yeah.
So some advice that I could give to you, Chuck, would be to get out and ref at as many places as you can. That way you get more time spent with different people than just the same ones all the time.
Right.
And it helps, open up your visuals for different moves and different ways that guys work, because man, that's the thing that's helped me out the most, is being able to go off and work Missouri with CCW and work those guys up there, and then work in Arkansas with APW, and even a few companies in Tennessee. But that's some advice that I would give both of you, is to just get out as much as you can. Like, I've kind of slowed down a little bit now with where I go to work, because I'm kind of more picky with it.
Right.
But starting out, man, I was somewhere different every weekend.
Well,
And
it's funny. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, you're good, brother. Go ahead.
It's funny you said to start traveling, because I actually, for the first time, I went to my own promotion by myself, and that was very nerve-wracking. Because I've never traveled by myself, and this was the first time I went. And I went down to Memphis and I did 901 wrestling. That was fun. And next time I'm probably going to have somebody sitting in the passenger seat to keep me company. But other than that, I had just fixed my car, so it was really a test to see if the car can make it to and from. Made it there. Was even scarier coming back, just because the trip going is always longer than the trip coming back. So
Yep.
Right.
I was very happy that the car made it to and from. So I know for now, if I do need to go to a show by myself, I can make it. So
You got to be dependable, man. Got to be reliable and dependable in the wrestling business, dude.
Yes, sir.
Right.
For sure.
Guys, like I said, I appreciate it. Brandon, I'm going to pull you down first. You have a great night, my friend.
Okay, you too, brother.
Cut him off too quick.
Man,
Alan,
hard out, pal.
hard out. Hey, if you got something you want to say, you better say it fast, dude. Alan, I appreciate you too, man, and you have a great night.
Yes, sir. You do the same, man. Appreciate you once again, Buster.
Take it easy, my friend.
Yes, sir.
now, before you yank me out, I just want to thank you so much for letting me be a part of this podcast.
Dude,
And,
I appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much.
Here's the thing. There wouldn't even be a podcast if it wasn't for you guys, the wrestlers, just anybody in the business. And we wouldn't even be doing this if it wasn't for you guys willing to come on. That's what it boils down to. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you. I'll be happy to do this any other time.
Oh, I'm sure we're going to give you a little bit of about 6-8 months, a year of wrestling, and we're going to come back and talk wrestling.
All
we're
right.
going to come back so we can feature you.
Oh, yeah.
All right, dude, you have a great night, my friend.
You too.
All right, y'all, you seen it right there. It's the Referees Roundtable. We're out of here for the night. Remember, like, share, and go to Buster H.R. Johnson on YouTube and subscribe. We're back Monday night. It's an all EPW night. We got the man himself, Neil Taylor, the real deal, is going to be here. Probably going to be at least a 2-hour show, too, because we're going to talk all things Neil Taylor and all things EPW. Till Monday, y'all take it easy.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative.